beast, man. All right, here. This is the last thing we're going to talk about with the constable, and then we'll let him leave.
Using drones from the air and armored bulldozers on the ground,
all the good
Israel
China
is
content
launching
when I'm
its
not here.
largest military incursion into the
I'm keeping all the
occupied
China content to myself.
West Bank city of Jenin in 2 decades. So
I love using neutral. Yeah, this is Israel Palestine drama.
Yeah.
I love using neutral language, like they're cops. You know, when like police shootings happen, when like police murder someone.
Yeah.
And they're like, lethal strike was facilitated, and projectile bullets were flying and made contact with a person, and it's like, well, what happened there? You know, and they're basically talking about it in the same terms whenever they fucking talk about.
Launched it. You don't know what's
Israel launches lethal strike on Jenin.
So
These are the
Israel
guys
says
you
the
and Connor
operation
were
is focused
fundraising
on
for, right?
counter-terrorism. Palestinians call it a new war crime against
Why they just got their new drones.
our defenseless people. The Palestinian Health Ministry says at least 8 people have been killed, with that number likely to rise, and at least 50 others now injured. Israel says it hit terrorist infrastructure in the densely populated.
Yeah, Israel always says that, bro. That really doesn't mean anything.
Whatever terrorist infrastructure is.
Yeah, I mean, they said that when they hit the Associated Press building. Okay, like the notion that like Israel is hitting terrorist structure is just anywhere where there are brown people, Israel considers terrorist structures.
Yeah,
of course, bro. What do you mean? We
the
didn't
constable's
stop.
here all day.
We never stopped, dude. I'm fucking slutting him out right now.
It's ridiculous. I've been here for 3 hours.
He sat
I feel like
here.
it might come in waves, you know?
He's so tired.
I checked in on you guys like when I first went out, and you haters or something.
No, we were just.
You were watching.
No, we were.
watching you.
No, we were just looking at who's the tallest.
Yeah.
We were just looking at heights of like leaders and stuff. But you translated that to hottest for some reason.
Yeah, that's a bit
Could be relevant.
problematic.
Yeah. All right, let's keep
The
going.
Jenin refugee camp. The operation comes less than 2 weeks after a raid in the same area erupted into a massive firefight.
Why are they blurring
killing
his face?
at least 5 Palestinians. We want to go straight to our Hadas Gold, who joins us now live near Jerusalem. Obviously, this is a notable escalation. Hadas, can you give us a sense of this operation, both on the ground but also in historical terms, given the uptick in violence that you've covered now for the last 18 months?
Yeah, we have been covering this regular sort of cycle of violence for the past 18 months, the Israeli military launching these regular raids into the occupied West.
I'm waiting for Israel to finally come out and be like, listen, of course we're going to keep hitting children because like the Palestinian age demographic is just too fucking low.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bank after a series of Palestinian attacks targeting Israelis.
He's doing
the Israeli
Sigma
military
face.
saying that they're going into the West Bank to try to prevent militants from being able to later carry out attacks. But it just seems to be perpetuating the cycle of violence. And we have been reporting it seemingly time and time again about how everything we're seeing is once again reminiscent of the days of the Second Intifada when Israeli tanks were seen in the actual cities themselves in the West Bank. But really today is something new because it's been confirmed now from an Israeli military source telling CNN that this is the largest Israeli military operation in the West Bank since 2002. When you look at just the full number of soldiers, hundreds of Israeli soldiers, the fact that they were using airstrikes from drones, we know of at least 10 airstrikes that were being.
It's wild saying like cycle of violence and shit because like in every sense of the word, it's like going to a kindergarten and slaughtering them with an AR-15, and you're like fully kitted out. Okay, and then the kindergartners throw rocks at you. And retaliation in the cycle of violence. Now, some of you might say, "Oh, wow, Hasan, Palestinians are fully grown adults and human beings. Like, how dare you rid them of autonomy and treat them like they're kindergartners?" No, literally. Some of the fucking kids, a lot of them, are kindergartners that are getting fucking blown to bits. Because in Gaza, and even in the West Bank now, anywhere where there are Palestinians that remain, their average age is insanely low. care to wonder? Do you guys want to know why that is the case? And most importantly, this used to be Gaza, okay? The world's largest open air prison, where I forget what the average age is, but they've already massacred the able-bodied men. So of course, what remains are fucking children. Now they're doing it in occupied West Bank. I'm old enough to remember that occupied West Bank and the encroachment in the form of settler colonial terrorism was actually seen as an objectively evil thing that Israel was not even openly advocating for, but even in some instances openly saying that it was wrong. Do you remember that? Back in the day, they would be like, oh, these bulldozers, I mean, I don't know how they got there, but like, of course, we would never supply infrastructural and military support to them, to very quickly being like, oh no, we're making the entirety of West Bank into a parking lot where we are purposely, strategically blowing through Palestinian neighborhoods in an effort to set up additional checkpoints in between them and make lives completely uninhabitable for Palestinians living on Palestinian soil that Israel has no fucking business being there. I mean, they don't have any business being in the entirety of fucking Palestine, but let's be real, especially so even from like the most liberal, progressive perspective, right? And yet, here we are. The median age in Gaza is 18, and the West Bank median age is 21.9. Yeah. Yeah, you got something to say?
No.
Good.
Nothing.
Carried out in Jenin. When you look at the bulldozers that are tearing up streets on the streets of Jenin, now Israeli military saying this is being done to try.
Any kind of coverage on this matter that doesn't reflect the reality that I just described to you, which is an apartheid regime set up by an apartheid regime with the express purpose of creating a religious ethno state. Okay. A theocratic ethno state. Anyone that does not explain it on such terms is lying to you. They're whitewashing genocide. Western media is absolutely doing this. Okay? 100%.
And root out IEDs that militants place underneath the surface level of the street. But obviously that affects the civilians who are living there as well. And we are actually seeing Israeli tanks, not in Jenin itself, but on the outskirts outside the city limits. Again, these are not scenes that we are used to seeing here, at least not since the days of the Second Intifada. And Paula, this is ongoing.
They called it a military operation. This is how Russia talks about Ukraine. Yeah, yeah. Right, it's just a military operation.
They're still getting reports.
Except Israel is like significantly more successful than Russia is. Let's be real, because Ukraine is backed by the Western powers. Israel also backed by the Western powers. In a conflict like this, the party that is backed by Western powers is always going to have some level of upper hand. I mean, in the Ukraine situation, at least it's like even the playing field, I think, in a serious way. But in the Israel-Palestine situation, it's just like incredible. You're using the most advanced weapons on people who literally don't have water, or their water supply is completely controlled by the people using the advanced military war machine. You know?
Of firefights, the Israeli military saying that they just in the last hour, 2 hours or so, were engaged in firefights with militants at a mosque. They say that they discovered some underground tunnels under the mosque that were being used to store weapons. We are getting reports of potentially even further airstrikes. This has now been going on for definitely more than 12 hours.
This is the Arthur Knight.
Yeah, I know, but
that's different. That's a separate issue.
I think we're approaching now 16 hours of this operation, and yet still the Israeli military is saying that it is not necessarily a large-scale operation against the entire West Bank. They say they are focused on Jenin and that they want to essentially prevent Jenin from once again becoming what they call a safe haven for militants. Now, we are hearing that at least 8 Palestinians have been killed. There have been some reports that some of them at least are militants, but no militant group has claimed them yet as their own. We know of at least 50 who have been injured. One Israeli soldier has been injured as well. But of course, for the civilians there, I was actually just in Jenin yesterday on the ground talking.
I wonder what happened. Did one of the IDF guys stub their toe?
Yeah, they got to be pretty incompetent to get injured in this situation.
It's like we talked about the American war machine in Iraq and Afghanistan. If there's one group of occupying forces that are directly doing even worse kinds of warfare, like disproportionate use of force against enemy combatants that are literally civilians with nothing, it's the Israeli occupying force against random Palestinian 14-year-olds, okay? Tripped over a dangerous rock. It's like, dude, you are one of the most geared occupying force on the planet. It would literally be like, it'd be like if the American militarized police force was like literally going into a kindergarten and just like slaughtering everyone. Okay, they would like drive the fucking APC.
I feel like I can already spot some terrorist infrastructure though. I don't think this picture, those lights, probably like super high voltage.
Well, the lights are there so that the terrorists can spot the big, beautiful, brave IDF vegan soldiers from afar, and then take pot shots with a sniper rifle. Yeah,
there's a lot of infrastructure here that dangerous.
I would go so far as to say that, like, even in fucking Yemen, the rebel groups are funded better by Iranian partisans than against the Saudi genocide than the Palestinians are against Israel, because like they're completely controlled. You know what I mean? Like their access is just absolutely diminished.
Yeah.
And most of the world sees that as a genocide, right? Because it's being conducted by the Saudis. Anyway.
Talking to residents, they today are saying this is something they have never seen before, or at least have not seen in decades. Now, the White House has said that they are closely monitoring the situation. They did say,
I have what it might be a stupid question. I can never find an answer for this question from most leftists even, but why is this classified as a genocide when the Palestinian population is rising? The reason why people don't answer you when you say that is because that's like literally very common genocide denial from what the Nazis did when talking about the Holocaust. I just gave you the average number, the average age of the Palestinian population. Also, the Palestinian population numbers rising in comparison to what? Like, why do you think the median age is 21 and 18? What do you think happened? They just all have this like unique genetic condition. I mean, they just die. They just magically cease to perish. There's a unique genetic condition. It's called not having clean water or electricity and being bombed all the time. That's how it goes, I think. Yeah, they all got vaccinated. Oh, wait, no. Israel is based. They were super pro-vaccine for the Israelis and super anti-vaccine for the Palestinians. They were based anti-vaxxers against Palestinians, dude. So they wouldn't even let them have the vaccine because they didn't want them to get autism, gay autism.
Broadly, they support Israel's security and its fight against terrorism, but there is a concern that this will spill over into something much broader, that this will spill over across the West Bank. We have already heard from the militant group Hamas. It has called on its members, on its cells, to strike Israel, it said, wherever it can. Paula.
Yeah, certainly. I'm glad, Hadas, that you could put that into historical perspective. As you said, more than 2 decades in terms of this escalation. We will continue to follow this developing story for us. Hadas Goldfrost, appreciate your update. Time now for the exchange. Our next guest tweets that the Jenin refugee camp is about 1 square kilometer and home to about 13,000 people. I mean, think of that. It's incredibly crowded. And she says targeting this camp.
Yeah, just drone striking that tiny ass fucking space is perfectly valid, dude.
From the air and ground puts all residents at risk. Noorday is a political analyst and a former spokesperson for the Palestinian Authority, and she joins me now live from Ramallah in the West Bank. I want to get right to what you know about the operation in the ground right now. What can you tell us about the operation itself, and what are you hearing from your sources on the ground?
Well, I can tell you that journalists have been struggling to cover the story on the ground. They've come under direct fire themselves. The medical crews, as you reported, have also had a lot of difficulty accessing the refugee camp and retrieving the injured or attending to those who need help, including the elderly and the civilians trapped in the refugee camp during this operation, which is going on almost 16 hours now.
It is an operation.
And
it's pretty
a lot
good.
of former colleagues who
like identical language.
Who had covered.
Oh yeah, the Palestinian
Special military operation.
Palestinian Authority, by the way. Yeah, no wonder fucking people in the West Bank hate these motherfuckers, dude. Like, yeah, they're just doing operation right now. Thanks, former Palestinian Authority political. This is the pro-Palestine guy that they have on CNN. They're doing a military operation on the dogs, the rabid dogs that were living there. I mean, it's totally worthy and worthwhile, you know? I mean, it's a really small area, you know, I get it. These awful people, they're using meat shields, human shields.
Covered the 2002 invasion of the refugee camp say the atmosphere is very reminiscent of that bloody episode when Israel killed over 60 Palestinians and basically pummeled the refugee camp, destroyed it, leveled many of its neighborhoods to the ground, also under the very similar pretenses.
You know, it's hard for us to get a read of what's going on the ground. We have live pictures right now of Jenin. As you can see, as the sun is setting, we still...
Yeah, refugee camp, not sure how that works when they are Palestinians in their own country. Maybe concentration camp is more precise. You know, relegating them to ghettos. You know, seems like that's what is happening. But yeah, it is. That is precisely what it is.
You'll see smoke rising from there.
And if you say, whoa, they have freedom of travel, how dare you say that? No, the fuck they don't, as a matter of fact. They quite literally do not. Can you just donate to the IDF? Do you switch around days later? Okay, guys, okay, come on. We're talking about serious shit. Don't laugh at that.
Oh, sorry, I thought they actually believed it.
No, I think they're just joking right now. We're covering something serious, okay? They are actively greenwashing already. The saga of Israeli water management is one of the most inspiring stories of the last 75 years. Israel went from having serious water problem to being a net water exporter to neighboring countries. Meanwhile, the population grew from 1 million to well over 9 million. 97% of Gaza's water is undrinkable. Like everything else about Israel, the displacement and murder of Palestinians is the reality that this greenwashing attempts to obscure. Yeah. They have so much water, they're giving it to neighbors, dude. Except, you know, not the people that used to live there that you displaced and kill all the time. Insane. But again, they're based. They don't want the gay turning water. Palestinians, they want Palestinians to not turn gay with the water.
Oh,
that's what it is. That's why they deny them the vaccines. That's why they deny them modern medicine. That's why they deny them water. They deny Palestinians electricity so that they are not like mind melted, brainwashed by TikToks. You know, it's hard to get access to the internet. Okay, you can joke. Yes, bitch, I can joke because I'm the streamer. You know what my fucking politics are. You know what I'm saying. Whereas when you joke, I don't know if you're like a psychopath who legitimately believes that, or if you're just joking. That's the problem. That's the difference. Yes, it's called context. It's called nuance. I don't know where you're coming from.
Israeli government believes that this operation will continue for some hours to come. In terms of tactics here, what are you hearing as well? Which I'm sure it's difficult for you to get information because, you know, mobile internet coverage is spotty, sometimes non-existent. We just had that update from the Palestinian Red Crescent saying medical professionals were having a hard time getting to those injured. I mean, give us an indication of operationally what this will look like if you're inside such a crowded camp right now.
Well, let me try to visualize this for the viewers. Basically, a large contingent of Israeli armored vehicles have gotten into the refugee camp. They've basically plowed many of the streets. They've destroyed the water network, cut off electricity. So the residents
she's right.
No
she's not as bad as I thought she was going to be.
And nowhere to go. And many of the buildings have been taken over by Israeli soldiers to be used as sniper positions. So those who have had the misfortune of Israeli soldiers taking over their home are now trapped in those homes that is being used by Israeli soldiers to shoot at Palestinian activists. And I want to put this in perspective, if you allow me. For Palestinians, these horrible scenes and these SOS calls from paramedics and from journalists and from residents of the refugee camp are part of a bigger and very violent picture of daily life under Israeli occupation. The Palestinians are ruled against their will by the Israelis, and in order to maintain that rule, which is violent in its nature, Israel conducts these campaigns against Palestinian resistance, which exists because the occupation exists. As you know, your reporter was reporting out of Ukraine a few moments ago and was talking about efforts to combat occupation there. It's pretty much the same when it comes to Palestinians, unfortunately, the international reaction is very different.
Our reporting says that the United States Biden administration is watching the situation closely, but it continues to hold the line, saying that, look, Israel is entitled to safeguard its security. I also want to get to...
Oh, my God, dude. Oh, my God. You cannot say that. It's like... Dude, the situation is equivalent to, like I said, a bunch of fucking military, hopped up psychopathic reactionary cops walking into a fucking kindergarten or just driving an armored personnel carrier to the wall of a kindergarten and then slaughtering all the fucking children in there. Okay? You don't turn around and go, well, what about the cops' right to defend themselves? Okay? They have a right to safeguard themselves. It's like, you can't do that. That's an insane fucking take.
It's just a balance.
To hold the line, saying that, look, Israel is entitled to safeguard its security. I also want to get to those calls from Hamas and Islamic Jihad to, in their words...
Yeah, what about Hamas and Islamic Jihad? Okay, what about them, dude? What do you want? What do they have? What does the Palestinian person have? What do they have for any kind of even crumb of emancipation? Everyone always Islamic Jihad and Hamas. First of all, Hamas, also an Israeli/American counterbalance to the more Marxist, more tolerant revolutionary, still armed revolutionary groups that originally were profoundly popular, but you butchered them. So now there's only the fundamentalists left, okay? And, they're the only ones who are rising up in arms to defend themselves. What are you supposed to do? Every American loves fantasizing about how if some motherfucker came to my house, some perverts came to my house and try to fuck my wife, I'd have my AR-15 and I'd shoot that fucker dead. You know what I mean? I have a right to defend myself. But when it comes down to it, no Palestinian has a right to defend themselves against a brutal occupying force. Okay, you can't do that. They're always nope, not like that. Don't do that. What about Hamas? What about Hamas? It's what do they have? They have nothing. They have nothing. Half the time when we talk about fucking rocket fire from Gaza into Israel, right? The worthy people, the people that are actually being blown away that people should care about, right? Every single time they talk about Hamas, where did they get the rockets from? Where? How are they making the rockets? They're making it with projectiles that Israel threw into Gaza. Okay? It's not like they got fucking rocket scientists out there. It's not like they got, a litany of natural resources to build from. It's not like they have a steady flow of shit coming into fucking Gaza. They're literally making handmade rockets off of the fucking rockets that you shot down into Gaza. And all of those rockets are ultimately intercepted. Almost all of them are intercepted. You know how? Because I'm a tax-paying U.S. citizen, and I pay for the Iron Dome. So, like, I literally I'm already defending Israel every goddamn day with my taxes, okay? I have, time and time again, said we should sell to both sides. Like, if Israel gets an Iron Dome, Palestine, across the board, okay? Palestinians deserve Stingray missiles or Stinger missiles. They deserve like a howitzer launching system. They deserve an Iron Dome of themselves. You double up on the money. Just give them the Iron Dome too. Give them HIMARS. Treat it like Ukraine. You know what I mean? Fucking bullshit. Are Palestinians just supposed to sit there forever until they're granted rights by an occupying force? Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, what are they supposed to do? They're like, what about Hamas? What about Hamas? Like, yeah, I'm sorry that, like, the only people that have, like, an armed form, like the only people that are basically the functional government of an open air prison that Israel manages happen to be fundamentalists and are not, like, woke for you, okay? And by that same logic, like, Ukraine doesn't meet that metric either, but you don't give a fuck when you see the black sun on every fucking military patch on Ukrainian soldiers, because it doesn't matter, because it's, like, more manageable because they're white. That is an armed emancipation cause that you are on board with. You don't care.
What about Russia's right to self-defense?
Nazis equals Islamists? No, that's not what I'm saying, man. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're leaping here, okay? I'm stating, first of all, if Nazis equaled Islamists, I'm sure the U.S. media wouldn't have that much of a problem with fucking fundamentalists, okay? They would be like, no, these guys are awesome. Yeah, they hated the woke issue when the PLO was prominent. No, I already mentioned that. It was like Hamas as an institution is the only form of governance. You can't look at this as like, oh, what are their politics in this regard? Oh, what are their personal perspectives here? It's the government, dog. What are you supposed to do? Think about it this way. America shot down the fucking Chinese balloon like a couple months back, okay? Because some dumbass balloon drifted over U.S. airspace, okay, on accident. Think about that. That's what the government is supposed to do. The government's supposed to protect you, right? So what the fuck is Hamas supposed to do if they're the government? They're supposed to protect you from Israeli missile attacks, okay? They're supposed to retaliate. That's what they're doing. That's the government, dog. Of course they're going to do that.
Strike Israel by all available means to stop the massacre.
Yeah, and their available means are just fucking kites that they put like incendiary, like the little bit of incendiary fuel that they can find on those kites, so they can, like, try to fucking fling the kite over the border wall so it can, like, drop on crops, dude. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. How devastating. How terrifying.
I mean, how much of a tipping point are we at here in terms of an escalation, especially, all available means basically is a call to action for more violence, is it not?
Like, if you want to stop Hamas's power, or if you want to stop Palestinian attacks, stop fucking making more radicalized babies who are going to understandably want to take up arms against this unlawful, unjust, and cruel apartheid state that's occupying their land. Like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to fucking grab a gun and defend yourself? It is the most honest, most just, most understandable reaction to watching your fucking baby cousin get blown to bits in her crib, okay? You see that shit, you're not going to be the same ever again. You look at a situation where every single Palestinian child has PTSD. Every single one. What are they supposed to do? How is it supposed to stop? How is the hurt supposed to stop in any other way? It's not like they can ask kindly, and if they do ask kindly, Israel will go, fuck, man. I didn't realize how bad things were. I didn't realize we were sitting in Sitarot Cinema, propping fucking couches on hilltops to watch with binoculars as Israeli snipers snipe down 14-year-olds. I didn't realize that was morally unhinged. Okay? Didn't realize that. My bad. I didn't realize that it was fucked up to watch Palestinian babies get blown to fucking bits by US-backed artillery. Okay? Air support and artillery and all this technology that we are also helping Israel utilize and deploy on unsuspecting Palestinian babies. I didn't realize watching that shit like it was fireworks was actually kind of unhinged, genocidal, bloodthirsty. I didn't realize it was like that. I thought it was kind of tight that we were doing that. You were traumatizing your guys. I'm happy that Alexa is not talking right now because I don't know if he knows how to toe the line when talking about these sorts of things without, getting banned. So I'm happy that he's just quietly listening. If you have any input, obviously don't say anything bad.
I think you're covering it.
Yeah. Bro acting like Palestinians don't do the same thing. Yeah. Palestinians, dude. Yeah, dude. It's so crazy. Yeah. 14-year-old Palestinians fucking deploying missile strikes into different parts of Israel. It's, they're always just like they're flying the Palestinian Air Force. Gaza Air Brigade Commander Mahmoud is fucking flying a plane over Tel Aviv and just deploying artillery and bombs on the beaches. Also famously backed by the U.S. military, of course. Palestinians have those extremely sophisticated NATO weapons. If a Palestinian ever acquires a NATO weapon, it's because some dumbass Israeli soldier dropped it, okay? That's the only way they're getting that shit. Let's be fucking real. Come on, brother. Tell me what the Palestinians are doing. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say they have rockets, okay, that they launch indiscriminately. And again, exactly. A lot of those are intercepted, but they have nothing left. Wait till the chat realizes that in 1858, the Ottomans decriminalized homosexuality in Palestine. 50 years later, British colonial code imported criminalized homosexuality in British mandate Palestine. Same for Pakistan, too. Yeah.
Said the exact same thing yesterday.
I was talking about this.
It's a daily affirmation for him.
Yeah, I talk about how gay the Ottomans are, and he just gets jealous.
That's why the Serbs had to fight for liberation.
They were fighting. They were fighting against the woke. Yeah, they were fighting against the woke Ottomans. They're like, none of that gay shit. Yeah, remember when the Palestinian civilians famously sniped an Al Jazeera journalist, like two-tapped her on purpose when she was very clearly fucking, when she was very clearly, visibly a journalist? Very famous one, as a matter of fact. Remember when nothing happened? Oh, remember when Palestinians also then went in to the funeral proceedings and beat the shit out of the people that were mourning the loss of this famous Al Jazeera journalist? Remember when that happened? Oh, wait, that never happened. It was Israel that did that. And then the American media collectively chose to fucking try and act like that was not a real thing. Okay? Yeah, they attacked the fucking casket, dude. The amount of cruelty that Palestinians are subjected to on a daily fucking basis as a normal part of their lives is unimaginable, okay? It's insane. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just unhinged, unimaginable, insane, completely unacceptable. It's disgusting. And the supposed Angloid barbarian pedophiles sit there and act like they are so much better than the subject of their cruelty when they turn a blind eye to this massacre and even have the audacity to turn around and be like, well, these guys are not woke. You know? What are their thoughts on the gays? You know? It's great, man. Yeah, they deserve to be fucking brutally massacred. Thank you. Anyway.
Well, I want to, just bring in the Palestinian perspective.
No,
here.
don't pet her, don't pet her.
By a foreign military is violent, and it's violent every day, even when it doesn't make the news. The fact that Hamas and Islamic Jihad are now calling for reaction against the invasion of the refugee camp is predictable.
That's always funny when they're like, oh, dude, Palestinians, well, they're not woke. It's like, yeah, there's gay Palestinians too, bitch. They're fucking dying indiscriminately. The Israeli rocket fire too, so.
Nothing surprising about that, just as there is nothing surprising about the fact that Palestinians don't want to be ruled by foreigners who use unnecessary force, who use extreme force against civilians. Israel has killed more Palestinians this year so far than it did the year before, which was already the most violent in the past 16 or 17 years. It has allowed for settlement expansion that has exceeded the total number of settlement units built last year, only in the past 6 months. This Israeli government, which Israelis are protesting against, is the most violent, most extreme, most anti-Palestinian that we've seen since Israel's establishment, perhaps. At its core and its declared agenda is not just to maintain control over the West Bank, to annex that West Bank and consider it part of Israel, but also to crush the very notion of Palestinian freedom and statehood. So the Palestinians are not only under attack, they feel that their very existence is under attack.
So we will continue to follow the breaking news on this story. I want to update us that from 50, it's now gone to at least 80 wounded. That's the information we're getting. We thank you for your insights on this. As I say, we continue to follow the breaking news out of Israel. Appreciate it.
Now let's turn to the situation in
I'm gonna fart on Kaya. Oh man, look, I'd love to. It's just hard. The timing's off, you know. I think Hasan's feeding me in a way that stops me from farting on her. And whenever I need to fart, it's bedtime. You know, I'm not anywhere near Kaya. I can't do it. He knows what he's doing. He's engineering a way for me not to fart on his dog. But I'll try my best. You know, I'll do it for you.